Let's see. All right, we are going live, apparently. Maybe. There we go. All right. So we are currently live on Hangouts tonight. Reason why I decided to do this is just a little bit easier. Let me just X out of this screen here. So it's a little bit easier to do it tonight. And honestly, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, when this goes away August 1st, everything will be switching over to that other thing we did the other night. I forget the name all the time. I forget, but I felt that worked really well. So we'll go back to that when the time is right. So I figured I'd just do a Hangouts tonight. So how's everybody out there? Thank you for joining me. Currently, there are, I don't even know how many people, but looks like a lot of familiar, friendly faces. So we'll do a roll call really quick as fast as I can. So we got TN Steyer there, Sean Montoya, Kathleen Music Lover, C. Kim, Ninja Scout, Fresh Fowler, hello, sir. Let's see, Ty J, Ferrets with Guns, Dennis B, Big Al, KV16, C. Kim, I already said you, so I'm not going to say it again, but I just did. So just a bunch of people, thank you. I hope you are all doing well. Pat8473, hello. And Craig, how are you, sir? And SRB F94 Ellis, hello. Daniel God is my judge, hello. Southpaw RX and Steve L. Ripcord, hello, sir. Logan White, hello. So as more people hopefully join us tonight, I'm probably not going to say your name, so I apologize. So I was asked earlier, like, what's the agenda? I don't really have agendas when I do these live chats. I basically just take questions. We talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, as long as it's relevant to, interesting things. I mean, if you want to talk about, kittens and puppies, probably not going to talk about that. And then the first question I got was, how did I like the Beretta chat? I like it. I like anytime people get together and talk guns. I think that's always productive. I think it's a good time to see some different opinions. They talked a lot about the Patreon thing, and I actually just tuned out because I started my own chat. And, I'm not trying to take anybody from them, obviously, but I do what I want, people. And, in regards to what they were bringing up, obviously the big thing, Ranger Andy, hello, sir. I think the big thing, obviously, is going to be the Patreon discussion. The idea that a lot of channels are being demonetized. My buddy KS was demonetized. My other buddy, Honest Outlaw, was demonetized. And some other channels that I'm not aware of because I don't have a lot of subscriptions out there, to be honest with you. So we know that we're battling that. That hasn't changed. That's nothing new. I think that at some point, I would like to not have these conversations. And it really does open up the chat to think about, where is this all going? I've always been adamant against Patreon. I think that, my opinion on it is still a little bit skewed. Obviously, I know that people out there make great content, and I know that it's tough because they try to provide the content and they don't necessarily want to, have to ask for money. But at the same time, I think things tend to evolve. Some of these gun channels that started off years ago were doing it for the hobby, and just really the fun of things. And then obviously as it grows and there's more of demand for their content, then they have to start questioning whether or not they should actually get money for it. I don't really know where I stand on it still. I'm a little uncomfortable with it. I don't want to say anymore that it's never going to happen. I just don't know. I don't really know where I'm at with it yet. I definitely would love to have some extra money coming through, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily comfortable with asking for it. And, that might just be foolish pride. It might be just reality. I just don't know where I'm at yet, but we'll see. We'll see. So let's see. What do we got here? As you know, if you saw my video earlier, I actually wound up getting my carry conceal permit from the state of Pennsylvania, which is kind of interesting because it is so much easier in the state of Pennsylvania to actually get something done. So I went in there and literally within 20 minutes, I walked out with my concealed carry. So I'm now able to freely carry in the state of New York, which is pretty cool, and or excuse me, in the state of Pennsylvania, which I think was necessary because, unfortunately, to go from New York to Pennsylvania, it's kind of tough because you couldn't carry necessarily. And I used to have a New Hampshire license, but that also went away. Pennsylvania stopped honoring those. And unfortunately, that's what happened. So it kind of sucks. But now I'm able to carry. So I'm seeing if there's any more questions, and I don't see anything yet. Let's see. So Sean is saying he got his last month as well, which is cool. And yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous that we even have to do that. It just boggles my mind though, how fast it was. I mean, all I did was provide him with what's the word I'm looking for? References. That's the word. Tough word nowadays. So I had to provide 2 references and give them a copy of my gun car or my pistol permit from New York State if I had it, and also my license. And that was it. I mean, there was no overwhelming background check. It didn't take a year to get it. It was super, super easy, which was so awesome. And they were very polite, very cool about it. Nobody was like watching you and saying, "Oh my God, why does this person need a gun?" It was non-judgmental. It was really just a good experience. Unfortunately, it's not like that everywhere. And obviously, there are some states out there that have no license needed, which is cool. But I definitely would absolutely recommend, if you live, especially in my neck of the woods, Hudson Valley area, New York State, go to Lackawanna County. So you go to the city of Scranton, go to the sheriff's office there, 2nd floor, walk in, walk out, and now you have your concealed carry. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Big Al, he's saying, I'm just talking about me. I have to figure out how many can I support. Yeah, can't have 300 Patreon accounts. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's going to be the tough question. You know, who are you going to contribute to? Who are you not going to contribute to? Especially if everybody goes across the board Patreon. I mean, in my situation, I've said this before that I'm not sure where I lay in that. And honestly, I don't know if I could provide the extra content that you would deserve if you were going to give me money. I just don't have the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have extra money coming in to help the channel. I would love to be able to have that opportunity, but I just, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Let's see. Pat is saying 1776. My question is, does the Utah permit cover you in Pennsylvania? That I'm not sure of. You'd have to look at the maps that you can pull up online, and it'll show you the reciprocity. I believe it does. The reason why Pennsylvania won't honor New York is because New York will not honor any other states. So that's sort of kind of the screw up on that. And then Ty J is saying, no, Pat, as Pennsylvania doesn't recognize other states generally. They used to, and then they changed it. Like I said, the New Hampshire license was good up until last year, and then it abruptly stopped. And it was a good thing I actually read the updates on the laws, because I would have been carrying in Pennsylvania at that time with the New Hampshire license. And yeah, that wouldn't have been a good day. Let's see. Logan's asking, never thought about owning a replica air gun. I actually have a PPQ air gun. It's not, I don't know, I guess it's an air gun. It's like an airsoft gun. Yep. And I bought that for my son, actually, when it was actually legal to buy them through the mail. Now in New York State, they also banned that. Awesome. How do I feel about background checks? It depends. You know, what are we talking about? Are we talking about, a background check to, I guess, be able to get a permit? I mean, everything's so different in every state. Like, for example, in New York, you go through your background check, you get all this information, you do your fingerprinting, you get your interview with a judge, and they eventually bless you with the ability to carry or not. That's how screwed up it is. At the same time, every single time you buy a new handgun, you have to go through another background check at your local gun store, and they will run you through the the database system to see if you get red flags. So you have to do that every single time you make a purchase in New York State. So that's why I always laugh when people say, "Oh, you can just go on the internet and buy a gun." No, you can't. That's not true. Now, do I think background checks are necessary? I think in a way they may be. And I know this may not be a popular opinion, but the reason why I say that is because there are certain people, in my opinion, that should not have access to firearms. Let's see. Ferret is saying Utah gets me into Delaware. Yeah, I mean, once you get into Delaware, you're fine, but I would never go into Maryland. Never. If I could actually bypass the whole state of Maryland, I would do it. As a matter of fact, when I went to North Carolina, because they recognized New York State's permit, I bypassed away from Maryland. And when I came back, I went through Maryland, but I swear to God, I got out of there so fast because I did not want to be pulled over and have issues. Sean is asking, what do I EDC? I'm now running a Glock 43X. Don't know how I feel about it yet. You know, it's interesting you bring that up. I had the 43X. I was actually carrying my Shield 4-inch, the Performance Center. Love that gun. All my Glocks are gone. The 43X is gone. The 48 is gone. Great guns. I'm not going to tell you they're bad, but the Shield for me just works better. It's a better gun for me, and it's always about personal preference. Let's see. New York seems to be turning into a commie state. It is already there. It is full-blown commie, full-blown socialist, full-blown totalitarian rule. And if you're not aware, you got Cuomo, who's a Democrat, the House and Senate that are Democratic now, the court system that has been overrun with Democratic judges. So yeah, it's pretty much full-blown. Big Al saying, I could see given to one spot that you have all you guys and gals, $120 a year to one spot, and all you guys getting free to do your thing with interaction we have now. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. Like Big Al, honestly, dude, I don't know what the answer is. I just obviously I want people to provide content, and I know people are kind of hamstrung. Again, we can have a debate all night long. We can get into fights about it, arguments about it. At the end of the day, you have to do what you think is the right thing to do. And the people who are going to go through Patreon have to do what they think is right as well. If they're going to provide you something extra, I think maybe it's worth it. I just am not sure about what does that extra mean. I mean, is it just a video or is it some tangible good? I think that plays a role into it. I mean, if I was going to open up a Patreon account, I'd be doing a live chat probably once a week for the patrons only, because that wouldn't change because I'd still be doing the Three Guys chat at the same time, maybe doing a giveaway, maybe bi-monthly. Because honestly, if I opened up a Patreon, I could probably say I'd get maybe 5 people. And, obviously the whole goal is that to make some extra money to throw back into the channel as opposed to keep on taking from my pocket. Let's see. Let's see. Dennis saying he thinks they should have checks on guns. And I agree. I definitely agree. And I got into some stupid debate with somebody once, and they were telling me I wasn't really a 2A supporter because I didn't believe that felons should have access to firearms. And I mean, listen, here's what I believe. If you are a violent felon, if you've been convicted, and it is absolute that you are a violent felon, whether it is a violent crime, whether it is a rape or a molestation or whatever it might be, or you're a pedophile, I don't care what you guys think. No offense. I love you all. I do not want those types of pieces of crap having ownership of guns. I don't. And that's the way it is. You know what? Nobody forced you to murder somebody. Obviously, self-defense is a different story. Nobody forced you to rape somebody. Nobody forced you to molest a child. So in my opinion, you don't deserve your rights. That's just the way I feel about it. Let's see. Mel the Nut saying, in Wisconsin, I do private sales on arms list, but I only sell to CCW holders. My way of doing a background check. Yeah, and again, like I said, every state is different, so it's kind of hard to describe. My situation is going to be very unique to many of yours. That's for sure. Very unique. Let's see. Dennis saying, I'm not carrying the M9A3. It's funny. I was trying to get a holster on eBay. It was a Vetter holster. It was outside the waistband. Really nice, man. Super nice. It was super cheap. And then I lost it on the last second. Somebody outbidded me $1. And I was pissed. But that's the way it goes. Okay, as gun guy. Hello, sir. Did I get the Ruger carbine yet? I have it on layaway because I have to save money. So it's there. It's waiting for me. It's on a shelf, collecting dust right now. So as soon as I can come up with all the ducats responsible to pay for that, I will absolutely get that. It'll probably be later than sooner. Let's put it that way. Dennis B was saying I was called anti-Second Amendment for saying that. I'm assuming it's either about the background checks or what I was talking about. So yeah, and people are going to say that. Daniel saying, I actually did get a new SIG. I'm waiting for it. I haven't gotten my permission slip from the court yet, but I got a P225A1. I'm super excited about it. Not necessarily the ideal SIG, and that's kind of the interesting thing about it. It's low capacity. It's not a 10-round magazine. It's 8+1, but it just was really cool, and it was in great shape. And I've been reading about it a lot. It's got the SRT trigger in it. A lot of people call it the Baby Legion because it's such a good, solid handgun. So I think I struggle with it, but again, we're going to see. We're going to definitely see. I'm getting a lot of agreements, so appreciate that, guys. And I know somebody mentioned something about the P365XL. I personally have zero interest in that handgun. I know that KS has, shown his arsenal of SIGs tonight on Instagram, but I'm not a fan of the polymer SIG. I like the metal SIGs. And I never thought I'd say that because I've never been a SIG guy, but I am definitely into it now. Yeah, and then Mel saying the Ruger carbine is nice. Put a Bushmaster, which is funny you say that. I actually have the same one, so that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll probably jazz it up a little bit, maybe get a 4N to it, and do some new stuff to it. Let's see. Kathleen loves metal Glocks. Apparently, she's still waiting for that. Pat saying 1776 last week of purchase the site P2 he purchased to the P220 Z carry. I'm liking the modularity of this handgun. That's pretty cool. And then Fresh is saying he'll stick with his Glock 43. That's nothing wrong with that. I would say the only downside of the 2.0, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, is the fact that the grip is awesome because it's super, super tacky, but it sucks because if you're not wearing a t-shirt, it super, super hurts. So unless you're like one of these, really lean, thin guys who wear, tight jeans, I don't. So it's kind of a little rough. Let's see. Somebody said I need a new gun. So yeah, the 225. I also posted a picture, talked about it as well. I wound up picking up, or at least waiting for the permission slip for that too, a Beretta 90-TW02. So if you're not familiar with that gun, it was produced, I think, from 2006 to 12, I believe. So it's kind of one of those weird guns. And when I saw it, I was like, "What the hell is it?" Because I couldn't recognize it. I actually thought it was like just kind of like a cheap version of a Beretta, like a Taurus, but it was actually a real Beretta. And then after reading about it, it's kind of just a unique firearm for so many different things because it's actually I guess you could say the evolutionary movement towards the M9A1 and the M9A3. So it's kind of cool. At least I think so. And it was pretty neat. It's pretty neat to look at. No, Kathleen, I can't. I'm not built like that. So KS is saying 365 XL is great, but gets damn hot. Yeah, I think you want to look at Harry's video, KS, which I'm sure you already did. And that's one of the reasons why I'm totally staying away from it. Totally. Let's see. Carry my revolver. Take it. There are no more Glocks in my future. There are not. I still have. I got this one still. This is my 19X, man. This is my favorite Glock. I mean, it just does everything I want. Absolutely everything I want. It's big enough. It's a shootable gun. It's a great platform, and I absolutely love it. So this will go nowhere. Let's see. Hi, Brian. How's it going, buddy? And then what's the next Beretta on the list 17? That's it for me, man. I mean, I've got the APX. Yes, Kathleen, I still have got the PX4. Beat the crap out of the slide, though, unfortunately. But, it's a nice gun. I like my Berettas. Here's my M9. Love this gun. So, yeah. So I still have all my Berettas, which is kind of weird because I'm actually moving towards Beretta more so than a Glock, which I never thought I'd say. But the APX Centurion is absolutely probably my favorite striker fired right now. Now, barring obviously the Steyrs and my PPQ, I love the APX. This is actually taking place of my Glock 19. And I actually rattle can this bad boy. So this is the original black stock. It's filthy, but yeah, $5 can of spray paint. Ty J saying, can't blame you there. 1776 in my department would allow me I'd carry the 19X over my issued G17. Too bad you guys can't carry the 45, the G45, because it's just basically the black version of it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I never thought I'd like Beretta as much as I did, or as much as I do, but it has been very surprising. Very, very surprising. Let's see. Says, I wish you could run a can on the M981. You'd love it. Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's not going to happen. By the way, it's a 3, pal. How are my CZs doing? They're great. If you don't know, I actually ditched my P10. I'm going old school. I went with only 3 CZs all compacts, my PCR, and I got two P01s. And I'm still on the hunt for the OD Green P01. That's going to be my last CZ, to be honest with you. I prefer to carry those guns and I prefer to shoot them, and I just love the ergonomics. The P10 is a nice gun, but I absolutely just will stick with the PCR, the P01s. Those are my favorites. Ben is asking, any new Steyr videos coming soon? No, unfortunately, Ben, that gun actually had to go back to Steyr. I was not allowed to keep it. I'm a little bummed about it. You know, it would have been nice if they would have said, hey, you know, thanks for everything, but you can keep it. It wasn't going to happen. So unfortunately, you know, if I want it, I'm going to have to pay for it. So that's why I'm saying I wonder if I should do a Patreon. No, just kidding. The Apex is great. APX, I had the full size. It was a good gun. Not a great gun for me, but a good gun. And then the Centurion, I just fell in love with. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And the PCR is great. You're absolutely right, Uriel. I love the PCR. I can't say enough about it. Fresh Valor saying P10 for life. Balding Curious, thought you were in Pennsylvania. I just got back tonight, man. I just got back today. I was in there the whole weekend. I was at a lacrosse tournament. It was hot as balls, which I'm sure you know because you were there too. So if you didn't see Bald's video, he was actually in Scranton 30 minutes before I was, which is kind of funny. He was getting his pistol permit there, and then I came 30 minutes after him and did it as well. So it would have been something to see you there, man. Let's see. It took me only 6 months to get my PCR. Yeah, I mean, if you can find them, grab them because the PCRs are hard to come by. Is the Steyr making a carry version of the M2? As far as I know, they are not. Right now, it's looking like the L9 version, the M9, and the C9 version. So the C9 version short barrel, but the same M9 grip. So kind of like a 19X. From your experience, who has performed warranty-wise? I will tell you definitely, absolutely 100%, not Century Arms. So if you haven't seen those videos on those Canics, holy Christ, that was a shit show. I can tell you CZ definitely did when I had problems with P10s. They were awesome about it. They got it back to me very quick. And honestly, I think that might be the only gun I had a problem with was the P10. So far, I've been good. So far, I haven't had to use anything really. So thank God for that. Let's see. La 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 la. You need to check out the Roni MCK for your 19X. Is it legal here? I didn't know that. Thank you, Nate, for telling me that. I may have to try to, you know, maybe I can hit up Roni or whoever makes that and see if they'll send me one. That'd be kind of cool. Ninja Scout, here is the Centurion. Okay. So it's basically a Glock 19 sized handgun. It's actually a very ergonomic gun. Magazine's empty, folks. You know, it's just great. The trigger's so much better than a stock Glock. I'd love to be able to get this little trigger safety to recess long, you know, further in, but it doesn't. So that's like the only downside. But other than that, it's a really nice, good looking shooting gun, and I love it. Yeah, and Bald, we will 5 years from now when we expire. Yes, we'll take a road trip and we'll stop by and see Coda Boy. Let's see. Dave Gass, hello. Delta D is saying, what is this place? I don't know what that means. Still sucks you cannot get HD sites for SPO1. You know, it sucks that you still can't get a lot of high def sites for any of the steel or metal CZs. You know, I mean, it would be nice to see, you know, Ameriglow come out with them, you know, Trijicon, Night Vision, Fusion, whatever it's called. But so far, nothing, not a lot. I mean, you can get TFX Pros, but I'm not so sold on that high vis, supposedly orange. Okay, it's saying we're in paradise. I agree. We are in paradise, sir. Let's see. Carry my revolver in single action. If 500,000 actually do raid Area 51, how do you think the government would respond? That's going to be interesting. I don't know. I would assume they would declare some form of martial law and that particular reason. I don't plan on being there, but if you guys are going, God bless, Godspeed, and good luck. Yeah, and I've heard Ruger does have great customer service. That is true. Let's see. HK's customer service was recently very nice to Ty J. Nice. Maybe you weren't one of the poors. Let's see. Tattoo Dragon. I am not getting a P365 XL. I have no love for that gun at all. I know it's blasphemy, but I'm trying to move slowly away from a lot of the polymer overload. But I will tell you, it's more expensive. That's the only downside of it. Newer version of the MCK has brace, not a stock, so it's still considered a pistol. That's pretty cool. Now, let me ask you, Nate, do you actually have to go to an FFL to buy one of those and get it transferred, or can you just buy them online? Let's see. Very cool. So Ty's saying they're shipping him a bunch of stuff that he needs. That's cool. Napalm. Bald is saying Sig has excellent customer service. They have to, because there's a lot of guns that have to go back to him. Oh, Arms is saying zombie apocalypse is going to begin that day with 500,000 on that day. Maybe, chemical weapon, everybody's zombified. The only thing I could say is if it is a zombie apocalypse, I would prefer that they are slow moving zombies. I can't stand when they can run. It's not fair. So slow moving zombies, like the ones that walk up to you and you can push them and they just fall down. That's the kind of zombie apocalypse I want. Will a 22 kill a zombie? I don't think so. Maybe. Maybe a slow death, because let's be honest, Lincoln got shot with a 22 and it rattled his brain, but it killed him in a long time. It wasn't instantaneous, unfortunately. Doobie, how are you, sir? All right, so Nate's saying you can get them shipped right to you. God, that is awesome. Thank you, Nate. That's something I will be looking into ASAP, my friend. Let's see. Little zombies. Yeah, maybe we can just get like little people zombies, and then they sing like Over the Rainbow or something. That'd be interesting. Diamondback Firearms. I've never owned one, so I don't know. Shoot fast, don't miss your zombies. Please don't mistake me for a zombie. You must be very slow moving, Daniel. And then Dennis is saying midget zombies. Be careful. They could bite your shins. Headshots only. You're correct. Although you could always just, take a baseball bat or something like that, So now that we're on the zombie apocalypse, that's always interesting. Well, I mean, there's so many zombie shows out there. I used to love zombie movies, but then they started messing around with the whole idea of zombieism. Let's see. What do you really like about the Smith & Wesson Shield 4-inch? That's a great question. I think for me, what I think is the best part of it is you get the 4-inch slide. So obviously you get a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. You get a little bit more slide area. I'm having brain farts, man. I've been in the heat all weekend, but I think it's the length of the slide is a huge plus. And I like the fact that you can shorten the grip, or you can use the extended magazines for a full grip. And like I said before, if you use some mag guts, you go plus, 8+1, and then, not 10+1. So, I mean, to me, that's the perfect mix. So when I carry the Shield, I usually carry the small magazine with a little bit of a pinky extension on there from NDZ Performance, which I love. And then I carry the 2 backup mags that are full size. So it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Sight radius. Thank you. That's the word I couldn't remember. Pistol Pete, and I carry my revolver. Thank you, gentlemen. So that's cool. So Big Al saying I'm going to have to calm my P365 down after her feelings were hurt earlier. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So would you take the Centurion over the full-size APX? I personally would, but one of the things that I always say is that every single gun I own, I carry. At some point, they all work their way into the rotation. There may be some exceptions, like the M9A3 will probably not be a consistent carried gun just because of its weight and its size. But I would absolutely recommend the APX. I mean, if you're used to carrying a Glock 19 and you like the Glock 19 and the grip and everything else, this would be the perfect fit, at least in my opinion. Again, everybody's going to be different. Oh, so they may have them for M&Ps too, huh? That's interesting. Great. Ferret with guns, 4-inch shield makes me feel like I'm shooting a larger gun, all in my mind, but it works for me. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice gun to point and shoot. I mean, I've had no issues with it. It functions every time, and it's just a good shooting handgun. And that little extra weight definitely brings something to the table. I've had the 48, I've had the 43X, and I did a comparison between the 48 and the 2.0 Performance Center. And I even said then that I think the Performance Center just felt better in my hand. It felt better constructed. It looked better, and that didn't necessarily shoot better, but it just felt better shooting it, I guess is a good way of saying it. Let's see. Keith is saying, where to after August 1st when Google Hangout stops? When we are no longer able to do Google Hangouts, we're going to use that other format. I can't remember what it is. I know it's horrible to say. I've only used it once on my own, and then we did it with the Three Guys chat, and that's where we're going to be going. So it's actually going to be able to link right to our YouTube channels. So there shouldn't be any issues with it at all. Again, I don't know if you can do super chats on there. I'm not sure. Because that's also a nice way to help out channels. I'm not going to lie. If you're doing a live stream and people drop some money, that's always helpful. That's another way without having to do a Patreon. I'm going to do like a live chat 5 days a week now. It's funny. Let's see. Let me go through some of these questions here really quick. What would be a good grip tape to add texture to an EDC for touch-ups, something possibly along the lines of skateboard tape? There's plenty of choices out there. There's traction grips, Talon grips. There's also my buddy who does, oh my God, now I forgot. I totally forgot. You got to help me out with this one, KS. I told you guys I've been in the heat all weekend. And I feel so bad that I can't remember it. Sandpaper pistol grips. That's it. He makes some good pistol grips as well, or some, traction, those types of grips. So I would check out all three. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. I love my PPQ. It's in the safe. I don't carry as much as I used to, but I still love it. It's going nowhere. That's one of those guns that I just can't get rid of. Let's see. Yeah, StreamYards. Is that what it's called, KS? I can't remember. Let's see. I have a light on my home pistol. Absolutely. Oh God, Dennis was down in Disney. Yeah, I was down in PA, man. We went to Hershey Park. It was friggin' humid. I mean, it was so bad. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even funny. Let's see. The whole Discord thing, I don't really know much about that. It's more of like a gaming thing, I think, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. So yeah, I'm not doing that stuff. Or I don't think any of us are, to be honest with you. Let's see. Yeah, no, Mike's saying funny what works for an individual. I'm no Glock fan, but the 45 works for me. Yeah, the Glock 45 is a nice gun, and I would always recommend it, especially if you have experience with the 19X. It's a really good gun. You can do super chats. I can't. Oh, really? You can't? That's right, because they screwed you on that. That's crazy. Even on that, they don't give you anything. That's crazy. So a compact M&P 4-inch barrel. Oh, thanks, Nate. $4.99. Very good, sir. That's for the MCK fund. Yeah. Now that I know I can actually own that in New York, hopefully that's true. And I can order it and have it shipped to me. That's pretty sweet, man, because I did not know that, sir. And it looks kind of fun. I mean, it's not practical necessarily, but it looks fun. That's for sure. So a compact M&P 4-inch barrel, same as the extended slide shield. No, the barrel's thicker. It's a thicker slide, so it's a thicker barrel. Blah, blah, blah. I was with a buddy who doesn't think much of Glocks this weekend, except he shot his Glock better than all better guns. Yeah, it's so funny. There's so much hatred towards Glocks, even with people who shoot them well. And I think it's just a combination of maybe, Glock overstimulation. I don't know. I like Glocks. I preferred the Shield over the Glocks, but it's still, there's nothing wrong with them. Like I said, I love this 19X, man. I love this gun. Let's see. Yeah, KS is saying, I wonder who that was. I'm pretty sure I know who that is too. Let's see. C. Kim. Let's see. What is the lifespan of a pistol? Depends on the pistol and depends what you're putting through it. If you got a 40, it tends to be a bear on guns, man. The guns will break down faster. It all depends on construction, I think. So Sean is asking, needs stippling work done on my G19. There's so many companies out there. I've used Flayed Customs. He did a really nice job on my Steyr L9, and it was the first time he's ever done a Steyr. So he did a good job. I have no complaints. Flayed Customs, Flayed Customs. And I know KS has used some people. Big Johnson's used some people. So, they can give you that information as well. Yeah, Keith is saying the same thing. He likes the 2.0, but the sandpaper grip hurts your side when concealed carrying. It is definitely not comfortable. I would tell you that. And I think sometimes I've actually thought about putting, either traction grips on it or something to kind of offset it a little bit. But that's how it is. Kathleen saying she's confused on the Shield extended slide. What are you confused about? It is a Shield with an extended slide. Got to shoot my first Glock this weekend. Gen 5 19 MOS. Yeah, that was a good gun also, but I wound up selling it because I wanted to get something else. So sometimes you got to do. And then we have Hackman. He says, "Hi, my friend. I am from Iraq. Well, greetings to you, sir." Yeah, music. Definitely watch the videos. Actually, watch mine. Don't watch KS's. Mine's better. But yeah, watch the videos and you'll know exactly the difference. It's not much. There's really not much. It's just a longer sliding barrel. That's it. And I mean, you can get some different stuff with it, but it's pretty good. Hackman is now saying, "I am from Iraq." Thank you, sir. We know that. So Sean, he got a Steyr A1. That's cool. Awesome gun. You're off a year though. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm still up in the air about red dots. I know a lot of you guys love them. Humble Marksman will tell you everything you need to know about him. He had a great series about it, actually. I would highly recommend watching that. Daniel saying he's only got one Glock that he would want, which is a special 19X Deadpool gun. It was pretty cool. Way too much red for my taste, but it is Deadpool. And Dave's saying he's carried his Shield 2.0 every day. Texture's definitely lightened up big time. Yep, that is true. I mean, like anything else, it's going to wear down. And you can actually take a really, a light sandpaper and maybe just kind of sandpaper it down a little bit so it lessens the texturing, which is also an option. Yeah, Shield 1.0 is just as good. No issues with that. That's a good gun. And then Ty J saying red dots are all right, but I still love my iron sights. I mean, I like shooting I like shooting the iron sights, man, right now. Is there a time and place for it? Probably. When? I don't know yet. And then Fresh is saying it was so worth every penny. Yeah, I know. That's what I keep hearing. That's what I keep hearing. I mean, I have a red dot. I have the Vortex. I know it's not the fanciest one out there, but it was serviceable. I mean, it was usable for my MOS. So, I just don't know if it's something I want to commit to. I don't want to be one of those guys who, has 14 different red dots just for the sake of having them. I want to just keep it all kind of symmetrical. So no matter what gun you're shooting, it's the same thing. And, that's a lot of red dots I'd have to get. Yeah, a lot of people saying the eyesight issues, definitely. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, you do what works for you. And it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You have to do what works best for you. Um, it's something I would always be interested in to try it again and spend more time with it. But at this point, I'm not going to do it. Dennis B, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good night, sir. So just out of curiosity, are we having some issues with Hackman? I noticed that something was retracted there. So, and then saying it takes a lot of work to use the red dot correctly. Yeah, I would agree. It's like anything else. I mean, it's a new system, so you got to learn the system. You know, you really got to devote yourself to that. There you go. Daniel's giving you some ideas there, Humble. Said, where are you from? Interesting. Yeah, he might be. So KS has got the wrench there. So if we have an issue, see you later. Bye bye. So Big Al saying 15 minutes a day for 21 days with the red dot and it will be natural. Sean is saying he's seen a lot of Leos running red dots. That's interesting. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I would assume it's department policy. You know, some departments I'm sure would allow it and others may not. But I could see it. You know, my only concern with the law enforcement is the fact that do they get enough training time? You know, I think that's something they would have to be something they would have to devote time to. You know, like any of us would. Fresh saying said he was from Iraq, then asked where you were from. Tattooed saying never shot with a red dot. Might have to splurge on one someday. I've shot with the Vortex and with the shield sight on the PPS M2. So I mean, they're good. They were fun to shoot with. I would definitely. I mean, I'm in a whole different world. You know, you guys know I got some shake in the hands, and it makes it a little bit tough. I'm not going to lie. Revolver saying if Trump would say Democrats are good people, do you think they'll start hating themselves? Yeah, if he would just start giving them a lot of compliments, then they'd have to agree with that. You know, if he would just say or disagree, probably. If he said, "I love the Democrats; they're so wonderful," they'd be up in arms saying, "How dare he call us wonderful?" And then they'd all be triggered. Kathleen saying she went cheap with a Venom. I have Vortex Venom. It's a good red dot. I haven't had any issues with it, with shooting with it. You know, obviously there's better ones out there, but I mean, I've had no issues with it. And honestly, why would you go so expensive, especially to start off with one? You know, maybe at later when you really master it, you know, you go and get more expensive ones. So Milsurp is saying he has the Cheetah. Those are pretty cool little guns, man. Those little Beretta Cheetahs. Those are pretty cool. Yeah, and then music saying hand movement is an issue with a red dot, which is why I mean I'm okay with them, but I never really developed a great you know, response to it. Cass wants a 380 cheetah. But come on, man, a 380? Stop it now. Big Al saying as a police department puts lasers on all duty guns. I mean, the lasers are pretty cool too. One of the things that I realized when I was shooting, I had a shield with a laser on it. And you know, you get so used to shooting with the sights that when you have a laser, you're still trying to bring that gun to eye level and aim down those sights. But then I started realizing, holy crap, all you got to do is look at the laser. Forget the sights. Just point the laser on something, and whatever you're looking at with that laser, no kidding, man, that's where that gun is shooting. I have to say I like the laser better than a red dot, but that's a personal preference. But I mean, once that laser is lined up where it needs to be, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like lasers. I'm not judging you. I just want you to, you know, be a man. Stop with the 380s, damn it. No, whatever you like, man. I don't care. Listen, I'm not knocking the cheetah. I said I like the cheetah. I just don't necessarily like the caliber, but I do. The cheetahs are pretty cool guns, man. Hackman is saying, I watch you to improve my English language because I want to come to America. Oh, okay. Well, I do my best to enunciate well, sir. Lasers and red dots are similar. Most people use a red dot like a regular sight. And that was probably my biggest problem, was that you kind of train yourself to always look down the irons. And then when you have that little red dot or that laser, you have to retrain your brain into recognizing that dot or that laser is where you're actually wanting to shoot. And I think, kind of thinking about it now, you look back at it and say, man, maybe I should have done that a little bit more. So definitely, I agree with that. It's a good insight, No Mikes. So there is some work I'm going to do on some guns. I am going to be converting this M9A3 to decocker only. I'm not a big fan of the safety, so I definitely want to do decocker only on this. So that'll be something I do. I got to read up on what spring is in here. I know that you can do a spring job on here very, very cheaply and easily. So I got to read up to see what is the spring. I don't know if it's a D spring or not. And then obviously the PCR, I got to do about a $25 upgrade from Cajun Gun Works. I got to get some springs in there because the trigger is so heavy. But like I said, $25 brings it down to 8 and about three and change. Let's see. Yeah, Sean, I like the lasers. They're kind of cool. But again, like I said, it's not for everybody. Some people think they're kind of cheesy, but I think they're cool, man. I like them. And if you go with a laser, go with the green one. Don't go with the red. Green's a little bit better of a performer. Let's see. Oh, and Keith said the same thing. Green lasers are better than red. See? We are smart. See you later, KS. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Again, if you have not subscribed to KS, do so. I'm sure you all have. I mean, who are we kidding? And he does a Patreon. So, if you need to support him, help him out, man. Help a brother out. Let's see. The good competitive people do not need the dot center in the red dot sight to shoot. Interesting. Humble saying he likes dots better than lasers. Carl Wren found the biggest performance gains with untrained shooters. Interesting. That's interesting, But I also wonder, Humble, if you get an untrained shooter with a red dot, are they a lazier shooter? Because they're not learning from irons. Again, I don't have enough knowledge to say either way. Ray Stupka is saying, will I do a video on how to do the M9A3? Would like decock only on mine as well. Yeah, I mean, I'll try. I can't promise you. I will tell you that, Mr. Guns and Gear has one up, very informational. As a matter of fact, I watched how he did this conversion because this was a safety only, and I actually did the decock only on this, and it was super, super easy. Just remove a ball bearing. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Green easier. Yep, and the green does not overheat as fast as the red. Let's see. I can't remember. Am I an Apple or Android guy? I'm an Android guy. I don't really like Apple products. Everything has to be Apple when you go Apple, and I just don't like that. Dan saying, I have heard when SHTF, you will point shoot, so like to get good with that. It's a good point. Daniel saying, no more wrenches, party time. I could change that if I wanted to. Let's see. Although, Sean, keep in mind, when you get a gun with a green laser, it's going to be more expensive than the red. Hackman is saying, you made guns and we used to fight one another. Well, actually, we did not make guns. That was actually started in China. China was the first country to actually create those things. And then they were actually betterized or more evolved throughout Europe. So we didn't create guns, sir. And yes, we used to fight one another, but we still are, unfortunately. Maybe not you, but definitely some people there. Let's see. I don't think one should start on red dots, but using a red dot will make you a faster shooter, even with iron sights. True story. That's interesting. Performance trigger from Beretta, best way to go, $115. That's true. Yeah, I was looking at because the Beretta 92 I have coming. I'm going to do some stuff to that, I think, as well. Real crazy one though is you'd have to go with Wilson combat stuff. I reached out to Langdon Tactical, and they said they don't have a lot of stuff for it. You ever heard of OnePlus phones? I don't even know what that is, man. No, I have not, sir. I don't know what it is. Johnny Sprague, hello. See, Kim is saying we don't talk politics. You're right, we don't. We don't really get into politics. There's too many angry people when it comes to politics. China invented them, America perfected them. I agree with that, sir. Humble saying he would start a new guy on dots. The feedback of what is happening with the trigger pull is unparalleled. Right, but do you think it makes them a lazier shooter? Yes, for a new shooter, I could see it being better for them because it's new, so they don't have to retrain their brain, so to speak. But is it making them lazier because then they won't be able to go to backup sites? I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Milsurp Mike is saying there are Android and another option to Samsung. Are you trying to sell us phones now? What's going on, man? Just kidding. Let's see. Captain Shark saying, I'm willing to bet everyone's favorite flashlight company comes out with a green laser option for their new pistol light, laser in the next sale. Prove me wrong. Yeah, didn't they do that already? I know Coda Boy did a video on something. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I thought they had a laser on it now. Nick is saying Wilson Combat makes great stuff and orders ship quick. Yeah, and it seems very reasonably priced to do some updates or upgrades on that 90 TWO 92. Pistol Pete saying, "Oh, light sucks." I think we should all have green lasers and red dots on our guns. Although I wonder how that would look with the green laser and a red dot. I wonder if you get confused. Or do you get more doubly accurate because you have the dot and the green laser? That'd be interesting. Does anybody make a magwell for Steyr? I would say that maybe you want to check Ranger Point Precision. That might be a company that you can look into. They make a lot of things for Steyr. And if they don't, if you talk to them, they may look into it if there's a big enough demand. Very good people there. Captain Shark saying you look like Christmas. I know, it'd be pretty nice. If there ever is a time when you can get batteries, it helps to be good with plain old iron sights. Yeah, that is also another thing. Daniel saying all my Seabass have green lasers. Pistol saying I just can't stand no lights and bomb and the ad bombing. You're correct, sir. Gotcha, Milsurp Mike. Yeah, I mean, I got a phone. I mean, it works, takes good pictures. I'm happy with it. I don't really get caught up in any of that stuff. Oh, that's interesting. So read Humble's comment. That's pretty interesting. See you, Fresh. Thanks for joining us tonight, buddy. So it's Nick saying the only thing Wilson makes that's overpriced is a mad guy that replaces a lanyard loop. Interesting. He still bought it though. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I was a little bit dismayed. Like Langdon Tactical didn't really have much for that old 92, which is kind of interesting because I thought most of the parts were kind of reversible, but apparently not. So red dots make it. Yeah, that, and I agree with that, Milsurp Mike. When I was carrying the MOS in 19, I always felt like I was printing more because of the red dot. And I don't carry appendix. I mean, and even with that, I would think that it would protrude a little bit more. Silver Cloud Mud Pounders. What's up, 76? Do you still have the Canik? Interested in the one series that's out for the price? I'm extremely biased on that gun for the simple fact that I had a horrible experience with it. And the TP9 SF Elite, which is where I started, that gun was just a bummer from day one. And then this whole circus in regards to sending it back, and then they actually sent it to New Hampshire instead of New York was kind of a bummer as well. So it was kind of just a huge problem from the beginning that was never really sorted out. I know that later releases of it were actually very reliable. So I think there are some people who would say they're great guns, and they are. They're good guns for the price. But I had such a bad experience with it that I would be so biased to give you my opinion, and it would be a hell no. I would never get one, but that's because I had a really bad experience with it. Pistol Pete saying he has an O-light on his pistol, but he still hates them. Humble saying if you carry 3 o'clock, then yes, dots make it harder. Appendix, it's the same. Well, where would you carry it then? 4 o'clock? Millsap saying he's too fat to carry appendix. Let's see. Nick is saying just from the outside, the safety and trigger bar on the 92 is different. Interesting. Yeah, I know they changed that because that was one of the upgrades they did from the old 92 FSs. So yeah. I mean, the reason why I picked it up was because it was in pretty decent shape. I mean, it wasn't perfect in perfect condition, but I picked it up because I was looking for another Beretta, and I was looking at a 92, but I didn't like the fact that you couldn't drift the sights out, and put something that you want on there. And with that, you can. So, and the grip, it's more like a Vertec type grip, even though it's got a wraparound panel. But I might do some work on that. I might get somebody to stipple the grip. Daniel's saying he doesn't care if it prints. He says, just don't mess with this guy. Sure. No, Mike saying he has a physical problem with Penix. I don't like it. I find it to be extremely uncomfortable. And I don't know. I think about a muzzle pointed downward at the good old boys. And I just have a problem with that. Yeah. So yeah, I know Honest had some issues with his Canik. And like I said, it's everybody's different. There have been several videos after that fact. I mean, that's such an old video. I think that's going on 2 years ago. But I know that there are people out there who've had really good luck with them. But for me, like I said, I had such a problem with it that I would never do it again. Let's see. Am I going to add any Langdon parts to the new 92? I'm not, because after speaking with them, they said there really isn't much they can do. They didn't even think they could do a trigger job on it. So that may not be happening at all. However, you can buy a trigger and some springs from Wilson Combat. So that's probably the route I'm going to go. What are we talking about here, according to Patty Brady? Humble saying it took him 3 weeks to get comfortable with the Penix to the point where it's not like noticing your wallet in your pocket. It's a lot like not noticing your wallet in your pocket. Interesting. Screaming is asking, should I sell one of my kidneys to buy a Lugo Arms Alien? You might have to sell your kidney and maybe a lung, to be honest with you. Keith, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for joining me. And there's about 2 minutes left. So, any last minute questions, and we'll go from there. Do I still shoot my M&P? It's funny. I shot it probably a couple of weeks ago, just to kind of run it through to see how flat it was shooting. And I compared it with the M9A3. I didn't put in the video because it was just too much. I don't like making a 40-minute video. And the M&P is just a great shooter, but there's a little thing I will tell you with those M&Ps. It was a good shooter when I bought it. It's a great shooter after I upgraded the trigger. So, as a matter of fact, I got it in here somewhere. No, I got it in here. Let me just find it. If I can reach it. Hold on one second, and I'll show it to you. Oh, shit. There we go. All right, so this is the M&P really quick. It's empty, guys. I'm not going to shoot myself. But you can see I upgraded that with the Apex trigger in there. And that trigger makes amazing differences in regards to the gun. So the gun has been cleared, but I'll just show you really quick. So there's your take up right there. Right there. And that's it. It's the very little movement to the back. Here's your reset. That's it right there. And it's just such a smooth, easy trigger. It makes this gun into a top-notch contender for great guns. And again, some people say, oh, but it's a costly edition. Guys, it costs money. You're right. It does. But, when you make a good gun great, how can you complain about that? You got to wait on that Ruger, man. I got to save a little bit more money to get it out of layaway. Yep, I got to put some things in layaway, guys. And the SIG will hopefully be in within a week or so. Let's see. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. Brandon James, damn that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, guys, I will tell you the only gun, and I'll show you this really quick. I keep saying that, but I like guns. The only trigger that I would say might be a little bit better is on this PPQ. So I'm going to show this to you. Let me get that on camera. So there's the PPQ trigger. It's a little longer in the take up, but that break is just insane. And then look at this reset. Woo! Super short, super sweet. Again, PPQ, in my opinion, is a fantastic gun out of the box with this trigger. This trigger edition makes it a great, great gun. Absolutely great gun. Screaming Skull is saying, I've gone back and forth on if I should get an Archon Type B. I did too. I initially had one paid for, and then I got sick of the wait. So I took my money back, and I'm kind of glad I did. I feel like it's just an overpriced gun. I mean, it really is. Don't ask Case. Case loves them. He's got 2 of them, but I was like, nah, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, Humble, it's a 225A1. And then Pistol, you say that the PPQ pushes back out of that reset. And that was the thing that, a lot of people gave me some crap about it when I installed the Apex, saying, why would you do that? But it's got such a positive reset that on the curve trigger, it was a little bit harder to kind of control it, at least for me. When I put the flat face on there, it's so much more controllable that it actually, in my opinion, makes the trigger better. Captain Shark needs attendance to carry appendix because his doc is telling him he has to. Yep, and I know that feeling with bad backs, man. It's always fun. Always fun. Yeah, I mean, if the Archon was, in the 6s and lower, absolutely I would. But I still think it's way overpriced. Now, again, I've never shot one, so what do I know, right? Ninja Scout saying it has a PPX. Yeah, PPX is hammer fired. So is the Creed. The Creed is kind of like the updated version of it. And that trigger was pretty sweet. It was a good trigger. Look, Walthers make good triggers. They make very good triggers on their guns. All right, guys. So we're gonna kind of close this out. It's 10:03, so we're a little bit over an hour. So I do appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out with me for tonight. Again, I don't really plan these; I just throw it out there. I probably would like to do more of them, and I may be doing more. I don't know. I don't really know. But again, I think we covered some really good topics. You guys had some great triggers. I appreciate our triggers. You had some great questions. Harry saying you'd throw everyone off if you bought a Korth or Alien. Yeah, sure. I'd need to take out a second mortgage for that gun. Nate, thank you, sir. Scream, you too. Good job. Thank you, Big. And guys, have a great night. Stay safe. Freedom is never free. And just enjoy your week. Work hard. Pay your taxes, unfortunately. And just keep supporting the gun channels out there, whether it's Patreon or not. Obviously right now we're kind of coming to the end maybe of a lot of good things. So hopefully we keep doing them, man. So I hope you guys have a great night, man. And like I said, I always appreciate anybody who stops by and listens and watches, and let's just keep it real, guys. Have a great night, everyone.